Yeah, so we're going to be doing, so you've seen this one already. This is the sideways Dutch door card, and this was the 6x6. I'm not going to be making the 6x6, but in the description below I have put all the measurements for the 6x6, the 5x7, which is the one we're doing today. I've also done measurements for an A5 and for an 8x8 because I quite often get asked for A5 and 8x8. So I've put the measurements in. I won't be making one, but I thought if I put the measurements in and I do a 5x7, and I can talk you through the measurements for the 6x6, and then you can see what bits go where, and you know which way up it's going to be, etc. So this was a sideways one, like that, and then I also did this one, which is your normal way up. And these papers, both of these papers were from the Love to Craft packs from DRK Crafts. As you know, these dies I featured in a craft haul recently. Off the top of my head, I can't remember which company it was, but it'll say in the description below. I would have listed them. I think I've listed them anyway. And the little shaker elements from DRK as well. So that's the card we're doing. So let me just quickly talk you through. Here's the 5x7. So I made one up. This is my little sample card using the papers. Oh, I forgot a bit there. I need a white piece here, a matte and a white piece. I've forgotten that. But anyway, that's the card we're doing today. You need either a 5x7 card blank, if you have one, or a piece of card that is 7x10. And what you're going to do is you're going to score it at 5 inches along the long edge, and then you're going to mark at 3.5 on this edge here at the top and at the bottom. So I'm just going to slide that down and just come back up like that. So I've got a 3.5 from this side in, 3.5 inches from this side in, turn it round, and then 3.5 here, which is obviously halfway. So that's that. And then we're going to come back to those in a minute and do some more with them. But I need to do that on the cork board. In fact, actually, I could probably do it on here. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a diagonal fold. So we're going to go, I've got this line here so I can see. So I'm going to score from that mark there to the halfway mark there. And this should then hopefully give you like a nice right angle triangle. So we're going to score down there like that. And then we're going to turn and do the same on this side. So that's those, and then they are going to fold back on themselves. And it's at this point you kind of need to make sure that they are nice and kind of square, so this isn't going off or going that way. You've done a nice diagonal fold. And then the same with this one. I'm actually going to bring this up. You don't want it to overlap. And so this is why I kind of put that extra piece over the top, because sometimes it ends up a bit wonky. So that's that, and then we're going to fold the whole thing in half, like that. So that is your, I mean, you could just have that on its own like a card if you wanted to, or even that way around. It doesn't stand up very well like that, that's the thing. With the 6x6, it stands up better on the side because you've got more here. But because you've only got a tiny bit there, it won't hold it. So just remember that. And then your two pieces that are, so these two pieces are 3.5 inches by 4 inches. Along your 4-inch edge, you're just going to score at 1/2 inch. You do that on both of them. And then that is all your scoring done. So we can put this away. The only other bit of base card you're going to need is a triangle, well, a square that is 4.5 by 4.5, and you cut it in half diagonally. So I've used the other one of these on that other card, on my sample card. So on the front here, you can just sort of see it. And it is slightly smaller than the triangle, but I quite like the way it kind of evenly steps up. So yeah, if you want to make it the same size, you can. But that's that, and that will stick on the front of there. And as you can see, hopefully you can see that, it's slightly smaller, but I don't mind that it's slightly smaller. If you want to make it so it's the same size, you can. It's really up to you. Okay, so then with these, we're just going to mountain fold. You can either, you've got a choice really with this, you can either stick them so that the tab piece goes on the inside here, like that. So you will, I mean, you're going to cover it, but you will still see a bit of it. Or you can put it behind it, which is what I like to do. I like to stick it behind because most people aren't going to look at the back of your card. If it really bothers you, you can stick a whole section on the back, a whole 5x7 section on the back to cover it up. but your writing part is going to be on the inside, so I think it's, you know, you can get away with it. I think you can get away with it. So we're going to go ahead and stick that down. So I'm just going to put a bit of wet glue or red tape, either is fine, on there. I haven't chosen very thick card. This is actually a bit thinner than I would normally go for, but I figured that once I've put all my mats and layers on, because my mat is quite thick, then hopefully it will be okay. So we will see. The other one seems to be fine. So I'm just going to put this on. I'm going to line it up. I know you can't really see, but I kind of need to stand at its end so I can see what I'm doing. Like that. Just trying to line it up with the edge. I put a bit too much glue on, so it's starting to leak. There we go. And you just want to make sure that you don't... Oh dear, we've got a leakage. Oh, well, that's not clever, is it? We have a leakage. Oh, well, there we go. Nothing I can do about that now. So we continue. No one saw that. We have a leakage. Don't put too much glue on. That's the tip. So you want to make sure it lines up here, and obviously it lines up there. So that's one. And then we're going to do the same on this side. Now you'll notice they don't meet in the middle. If that bothers you, you can make them slightly bigger so they do meet in the middle, or you can stick it on the inside and then they definitely will meet in the middle. But I prefer them not to meet in the middle, because then at least you haven't got to worry about them overlapping and stuff. So that is that. Now for this one, I am going to do it this way round, because as I said, the 5x7 doesn't stand up on a sideways way. You really have to do it this way round, and then it stands up nicely. So I would, yeah. If you can make it stand up the other way around, that's fine. If you wanted to do it this way around, you could always put maybe a top fold card on the back, so it's kind of stood up like that. But yeah, I think it's fine the normal way. So now we're going to take our rectangle, and that is going to go on the front there, like that. And again, I need to be careful because this here, I still want it to be a pocket. So I'm just going to put a bit of glue on. I'm just going to go slightly in, a bit further in than I would normally go, just to make sure it doesn't splurge everywhere. And then on top of that, so with this, you're probably best to do like a pair of cards, because then you can use the other triangle on the other card. You're going to need a mat piece that is 4x4 that you cut in half diagonally, and a pattern piece that's 3.5 by 3.5 that you cut in half diagonally. And then they are going to go on the front like that. Okay, so that's your front section. Then for this piece here and this piece here, you need 2 mat pieces that are 1.25 by 6 3/4, and 2 pattern pieces that are 1 inch by 6.5. So that one I'm going to put there. And then this one I'm going to put in here, like that. We also need 2 squares, and the mats for these are 3.25 by 3.25, and the patterns are 3 by 3. And they're going to go on there, like that. But if you want to do a matte and a white, then your mat needs to be 3.25 by 6 3/4, and your white is going to be 3 by 6.5. So I'm just going to get a piece of white to put on there. Right, now I've got this sunflower, and I was thinking about sticking him in this corner here. He has got a stem, so I'm wondering whether I might end up cutting his leaves off. I didn't want to, but I might end up doing that. So there you have your card. I'm going to be very careful because I've obviously got silicone glue, and then you open it up. Actually, I quite like the patterns on the inside. But yeah, so there you go. And obviously it stands up. Bring the other one in because the other one's dry. The other thing as well I might do actually is I might put some glossy accents again on the middle of that sunflower, because I did like I did like it on this one. So there we go. That is our live stream for today.